let's begin with the first episode. So my first thing is that I feel like I needed some warning for the episode opening with Jughead's narration. I mean, you really don't see Cole Sprouse throughout the whole episode, but the fact I had to just it opened up on his narration was a shock to me, and I needed warning. I would say that the plot is probably the strong point of the first episode because, yeah, I'm going to get into the bad parts, but it's kind of an interesting plot for a TV show. I mean, like, I quite like it. This whole thing, if you've not seen it, there's these twins, Cheryl and Jason, I think.
Yeah.
They go off in a boat, then Jason disappears and they find Cheryl crying. There also seems to be a weird relationship between Cheryl and Jason.
So much incest in this show. What is going on?
I know, right? Too much. But Jason also, like, some people hated him. There's weird things going on there. And then the first episode ends with them, like, discovering his body, and there's, like, a bullet hole in his head, which is kind of good. Like, I did think for a second, I kind of want to know what happens to Jason.
Like a mystery, and then they lure you in. And then I think that's why I probably stopped watching after the second season, because obviously they just dropped that plot.
Oh, yeah.
But it was well rounded. It was like it had a thing, and everyone was like, "Ooh, what's going on?" Second plot, they've just introduced this like motorbike gang for some reason, and anyway, that's...
but it makes I don't know why they did that, but the murder mystery was good.
It was great. They did well.
And that was why it's kind of good for a teen drama, because they're still utilizing typical teenage drama bad tropes, but also throwing in this murder mystery, which isn't necessarily bad because people like teen dramas. That's why they're successful. Yeah. I mean, you know, you have Archie, whose character arc in the first episode just seems to be typical Troy Bolton. Can he sing and be on the football team? Like, it's just a typical drama trope. They're going into stereotypes. And that's not enough to survive on its own. Like, that's not anything different. So you throw in a murder mystery, you get two things people like. Typical tropes of teenagers that aren't really realistic, and murder.
Yeah. Everyone
loves it. So I kind of think that's a good thing about it. And Jack pointed out, Jack is my brother, if I didn't make that clear. He pointed out, he said that loads of bits of it are similar to Gossip Girl, which I think is kind of fitting them with like it just picking on similar tropes. However, the tropes that it picks on are probably the worst bits, and that he said this when like it's like Veronica's mum and Archie's dad are like flirting, and he was like, all the parents get together in Gossip Girl, and that seems to be what's happening here, which is an odd trope for teen dramas, but there we go. People's parents get together. But yeah, immediately clear that the low point is the writing. The writing is not a good bit of the show. I can see the writing team are letting them down. And I don't know, maybe some people liked this aspect because it seemed like they wanted to be kind of quirky. They didn't want to do the typical teen drama like script, so they tried to make these teens really intelligent, but so they would reference like books and movies, but they only ever have base knowledge of them. So like the one that I'm really thinking of is when Veronica's kind of introduced to Betty and Archie, she references two Truman Capote books, and she says to Archie, "Oh, are you aware of Truman Capote?" And he's like, "Yeah," or something, and she then says something about being like Breakfast at Tiffany's, but this is In Cold Blood, or whatever her second book was.
Yeah, In Cold Blood.
In Cold Blood. So she mentioned these.
True crime book.
Yeah. She mentions these plots as if like you had to know much about Truman Capote to understand the reference. You don't. You just need to know two titles of Truman Capote books. But it was such a pointless... It annoyed me. It's so pointless that they put that in there. And it clearly was just put in to be like, she's intelligent. She might not have read those books. She might not.
I don't think she has. Because the content of them.
Cold Blood, and I can't remember the title. It proves nothing. So, but it was the fact she was like, "Are you aware of Truman Capote?" And then just referenced two titles of. It was so stupid. But you do get the impression that they've never heard teenagers talk before, which is good in a teen drama. Not. So that is definitely the low point. And I would say that another thing that I fully blame the writers for is the fact that they have in the episode Betty and Veronica trying out to be cheerleaders, and they are so bad at cheerleading. Like, they did not deserve to get on the team at all. And also there's this whole thing with Veronica suddenly like being Betty's best friend despite they like met 2 seconds ago and the whole thing is about how close they are. But anyway, so they're trying out for cheerleading. They're so bad, and Cheryl is just like, "You are very bad," despite the fact I think she's meant to be the villain in this season, but
Yeah.
she just is very valid in saying that they're bad because they were. Um, so to impress Cheryl, Betty and Veronica kiss. So in a teen drama, they decided to get these teen girls, and I know the actors won't have been, but be like, let's do some performative sexuality and have you, for some reason, kiss to get on the cheerleading squad. No one asked them to at all. It was so stupid. I don't know why they included that. So, and like, it just seems like an insult that, like, in later seasons, they, for some people, represent sexuality and lesbian relationships really well. That they threw in this
Mm.
bit of performative, like, oh, look at us, like, we're a edgy teen show. Um, and you also just get straight into Archie having a relationship with a teacher, which I don't know how this ended, so I don't know, like, I'm hoping they're not condoning this relationship, but they're not really doing anything in the episode to say it's wrong.
I'm trying to remember. I think she has to break it up because Archie wants more. But it's not really going like, oh, you shouldn't be with your
Yeah,
teachers. You're a groomer.
yeah, she is a groomer,
Mm,
and
yeah.
so that was kind of weird. But I definitely blame the writers for that, because other than that, it was the episode's okay. The script's just
Mm.
really bad. Um, my favorite of my brother's reaction to the whole episode were at 10 minutes. He said, "I hate this show," and then said, "No one like this exists," which I think fits with the script writing being bad. And then I heard him audibly gasp and then giggle when they said the name Jughead because he apparently didn't know that was a name in the show.
It's so stupid.
Why
It's
is
beyond.
Jughead?
I hate the names that they give people.
Yes.